Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Nathaniel. That was really, really interesting. Yes, so Margaret and Robin asked me today to speak about something to do with the World Environmental Day. I thought, gosh, how so many topics I could possibly cover. I've been involved, as you heard, quite a few variety of campaigns to do with global food security, climate change, environmental refugees issues, living consciously. I've designed a course on living consciously, how to actually live more in rhythm with nature, and save and use wisely our resources, as our previous speaker was so passionately talking about. The one topic that I keep coming back to, and I've done quite a lot of writing on and research and speaking publicly, is global food security. There is no subject closer to really to our hearts, to all of us. We all need food to eat every day, and it's now becoming an incredibly important and incredibly complex issue. So I've chosen global food security. I'll just give you a few details today. So addressing the challenge of global food security throughout the 21st century is basically linked with so many other global issues. Most notably, of course, climate change, population growth, the huge population explosion that we've witnessed in our lifetimes, and the need to sustainably manage the world's rapidly growing demand for energy and water. Global progress in ensuring a sustainable and equitable food supply chain will be determined by how coherently these long-term challenges are handled globally, on a global scale. This will also determine our progress in reducing global poverty and achieving Millennium Development Goals. Some of the Millennium Development Goals have been already met, or we're coming close to it, so we are making progress, but there's still an enormous amount of work to be done. The challenge, of course, to do with global food security is to deliver nutritious, safe, and affordable food to a global population of what's coming up to 9 billion. Predictions are telling us that 9 billion people will be living on the planet by 2050, using less land, fewer inputs, with less waste and a lower environmental impact. It is really becoming very, very clear that research, systematic, deep research, on a global scale, is vital to meeting these challenges. And all this has to be done in ways that are socially and environmentally sustainable. Global food security is becoming, as I said, fast becoming one of the most pressing challenges facing the world today. Because the scope and the breadth of this issue encompasses all the people and all the governments, no exceptions, of the world, and demography is the driving factor, pushing it to the top of the global agenda. The human population, as I said, is set to surpass 9 billion in our lifetime, in the next 2 decades, with the attendant cost of ever greater pressure applied to the Earth's finite sources. The World Bank has predicted that wheat production alone will have to increase by 50%, and meat production by 85%. That is just absolutely incredible. Over the next 20 years alone, in order to just meet the demand. The challenge is facing us to be able to feed the great mass of humanity in a sustainable manner and healthy manner as well. As a clinical nutritionist, I am very concerned not just about the quantity of global food, but also the quality of food that we are being fed, which is declining rapidly, unfortunately, in the developing world and in the developing world and the developed world as well. So we are now facing a huge obesity crisis in most Western countries, whereas almost 2 billion people are starving on a regular basis. So something has gone very, very wrong. Climate change, of course, is going to always be the other defining source of stress, with its manifold repercussions upon water and water access and supply. And then the spread of pests and the disease has its potential to increase even more, to bring even more extreme and unpredictable weather patterns. The UN estimates today, I was just looking at the figures recently, that almost 1 billion people are going to bed hungry every single night. So 1 billion people are chronically hungry and malnourished in the world, and over 6 million children die every year unnecessarily due to starvation. At the same time, around 1 billion people, as I said, around the world are suffering from obesity. And judging by the current trends, this number is set to rise in the near future. Both numbers are set to rise. Recent climatic developments have also given both humanitarians and policymakers alike a lot of headaches, more and more serious cause for concern. At a time when the recession, as we know, is biting in many parts of the world, and where booming populations have already made food scarce and prices very, very high and unaffordable, this crisis could have extremely severe humanitarian and indeed strategic implications. Global food security is obviously one of the key issues for the future of humanity, along with water, climate, and peace, of course, and security. The UN has a commitment for supporting governments as they work towards the Millennium Development Goals that were agreed, as many of you might know, in 2000. And that will require all of us to achieve some more significant developments by 2018. The first of these goals is to halve the number of people living in hunger from approximately 860 million to 1 billion to half a billion. But it looks as though by 2018 we will actually be looking at 1 billion people living in hunger. If we look globally, the situation around poverty and hunger seems to be similar around the globe. We have resistant poverty, for instance, in sub-Saharan Africa, similar figures in South Asia. In South Asia, we have received some interesting reductions, some significant reductions in the percentage of people who are poor. But given that there are so many people living in South Asia, the numbers are still unacceptably high. Poverty in sub-Saharan Africa has proven itself to be very, very resilient, and hunger has remained very, very high, with 25% of the population hungry at all times. According to our research, there are still 29 countries across the globe where levels of malnutrition are very, very alarming. This is an extremely serious situation. This is a pressing need. There is a pressing need to ensure adequate nutrition, including not only calories, but necessary, what we call in nutritional science, macro and micronutrients. So not just protein and carbohydrates and fat, but actually micronutrients, good supply of vitamins and minerals, and essential fats, and all the nutrients that are necessary for the growth and maintenance of human body. At the same time as increasing numbers of people are globally inadequately fed, as I said before, the overconsumption is really, really worrying trend. Overconsumption of high-calorie, high-processed diets is adding to the rising demand of food, with all the associated economic, social, environmental impacts, but at the same time, massive health problems. So now in the developed world, we have obesity and health crisis, because so many people are becoming very, very obese and overfed but malnourished. So in this country as well, we have obesity crisis. In fact, Britain, unfortunately, is now the most obese country or the most obese population in Europe. Sad statistic. So the most important challenges arising are, of course, the world will need to produce more food for the future, using less water, less land, less fertilizers, less energy and other inputs, and then distribute the produced food more efficiently and equitably. It's often the case that the distribution is actually a problem. In many countries there is enough food, there is enough food production, but the distribution is absolutely in the hands of very few, and the corruption is right. And then, of course, there's a need to reduce, as you all know, losses and waste, huge amount of waste. In fact, our figures show that about 1/3 of global food production is completely wasted and thrown away. 1/3, which would, of course, feed easily 1 billion people that end up hungry every day. Greenhouse gas emissions and other adverse environmental impacts. throughout the food supply chain from production to consumption and waste management. Food must be safe, nutritious, affordable, and be supplied and distributed in ways that meet the needs and aspirations of consumers in different economic, social, and cultural contexts around the world. People should be well informed and helped to make healthy choices. That's one of my roles. I'm as a nutritionist and public speaker on health and healthy issues. I'm constantly speaking and writing, and very, very concerned about teaching and educating the public about the dangers of overeating and in fact being malnourished because all the wrong and processed foods are eaten. There is a need, of course, to balance different uses of lands and sea, often with competing priorities, such as sustainably increased food production, while maintaining, this is really important, maintaining ecosystem services on which food production critically depends. There is an urgent priority to balance increased productivity from food producing animal. I'm also an animal campaigner, so animal welfare is a massive problem in the developed and developing world as well. Recognizing that absence of disease and high productivity do not always equate with high welfare standards and outcomes. The complex, massively complex and interrelated problems outlined above can only be tackled through coordinated and integrated interdisciplinary research, coupled with its effective translation into practice and policy. Our aim has to be to help to improve the sustainability and security of food in the UK, to start with, and of course in the global food production. The challenges range from those with a local or UK national focus to more wide-ranging European and global issues. And now, of course, with the issue of Brexit, we're facing even more complex problems when it comes to European food production and distribution. The challenges of food security for the UK are inextricably linked to global production. So we all depend, the UK of course depends on global production, demand and supply, and they must be considered in this broader context. At Sustainable Planet Foundation, my foundation that I have co-founded, we are working and researching and also campaigning constantly, highlighting the need for the UK-based research in helping to address the global challenges, especially of those of developing countries. Of course, then there's an issue of genetically modified foods. I don't have time now to get into that topic, but that is a massive topic that I've written on in quite a lot of detail. A lot more research needs to be done. I'm basically very much against genetically modified food. We now know, the research shows that it is carcinogenic. Causes cancer and all sorts of mutations in the human body, and it's extremely, extremely dangerous to the planetary resources. So that's another thing that we need more research on, more sustainable agriculture, and we all have the right to eat genetically modified free food. For instance, in America, most of food is genetically modified, and there's no need to actually even label the foods. In this country, we are a little bit better, but it's still very, very, very complex, very difficult. So I'm passionately myself and with my colleagues fighting to protect our people's choices from corporate interests. There are massive corporate interests that we're fighting against, billions of dollars of corporate interests, to secure safe and sustainable agriculture for all of us. To safe and sustainable seed production. We are now campaigning and massively, aggressively calling, because now we've reached the point in history where we actually have to become much more aggressive in our campaigning and much more vocal. We are calling for a moratorium, complete moratorium on genetically modified food and crops until it's clearly and independently proven safe. And that's very, very unlikely that will ever happen. And we're looking for public involvement. I'm constantly talking to the public and asking for public involvement, awareness, which starts with awareness and education. Public involvement in decisions about GM. We can make a difference with the campaigning the governments. We have made a difference, and we can make a lot more difference. We're campaigning for the laws to change, to make GM companies liable, to stop harming us with our products, and stop causing stop causing a huge amount of problems and on a global and a local and global level. And we are very much calling for independent safety research. So research and education are basically the foundation of any change. And then, of course, there has to be a will of the people and campaigning from grassroots so we can affect the change with the governments. Governments are, as we know, in the Brexit situation, are pretty lost at the moment. There's so many issues that they're grappling with. Food is not high on the agenda, or the quality of food is not high on the agenda at the moment, especially the Brexit times. So we actually have to take things into our own hands and make a difference. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, yes, please.
Yeah, you said that it's very good that you said your discussion that genetically modified food is not really good for our body.
Genetically modified, yeah.
But the advanced world, some companies, some agriculturists in the advanced world, they are now coming to third world country or developing economy to project, to advise that genetically modified food is really good, because some of these, most socialists of West African countries that is really poor in the supply of food, they are now saying that genetically modified food is very good, and nobody is fighting it.
You have to look at who is saying that genetically modified food is good. You have to look at who is making profits. Billions and billions for genetically modified food. There is a lot of research shows that it's very, very detrimental. There is no shortage of food. That's the thing. They are pushing genetically modified foods because they're saying that we need to feed 1 billion or how many, 2 billion people. There is no shortage of food. If the distribution system is changed and the waste is reduced, we don't need genetically modified foods. The money from GM foods goes into very few pockets globally. So please, I mean, I appreciate, but please have a look at research. I mean, look behind the headlines, sensationalist headlines. We need to actually educate ourselves and see who is releasing these research and these studies. Thank you.
Questions also for Nate?
Yes.
Before we have a question for him. So any questions?
Comments?
So I have a question for solar panel, or is it can be changed?
Yeah, either, yes.
Yeah. Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Daniel.
Thank you for the presentation. So I'm Emela Matino. I'm raising awareness on climate change in schools through science, because there was people that don't care about it, so I'm really workshop around science. And what you show is fantastic. I was thinking, you gave me the idea to have a photovoltaic, so I don't know how to say it in English. In the school, do you work only in Africa? You work also in
Europe.
Okay, great. So maybe I'll contact you later, because this is great, because you have to go to school to start educating people and make sure the parents are listening through their kids. You know, the same thing that Coca-Cola and McDonald's was using, through the kids to reach the parents. We have to do the same thing, as you were saying, agree with the other way.
Yeah.
We have to use the same method, and that's one view. Thank you.
Would it be possible to touch on the impact of microwaves?
Oh gosh, don't get me started on microwaves. Yeah, from a health point of view,
Yes.
absolute disaster. Microwaves, I mean, I wouldn't have microwave anywhere near, and all my clients are advised to take microwaves immediately as a first step out of the kitchen. They're literally electrically changing the structure of the food, breaking down the molecular structure. So really, really dangerous, and as you say, very, very power hungry as well. So not great news. We need to come back to, this is part of my conscious living course that I'm developing, come back to eating more fresh, unprocessed food. Microwaves are really, yes, they're convenient, but they're not. But eating with microwave food is as far removed from being in touch with nature as you were talking about earlier, as you can possibly imagine. So please, stop using microwave. Yes.
The root problem of this pollution and the food shortage is the overpopulation. Whatever you do is not going to solve it. People are pouring in the cities because they, and another thing is poverty. It's not a shortage of food. I personally say that in India, people can come and say, I haven't eaten it for, that was a long time ago, not today. I haven't eaten it for 2 days, like that. And at the same time, you go to restaurants are full.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And the pollution is the same thing.
Pollution, yeah. Overpopulation is a massive problem, obviously. In our lifetimes, we see
When
the
we
population
say
double.
pollution, we only think of India and China. It's all the world around. Look at Mexico. Look at Egypt.
Yeah. Yes, it's a global problem.
We are going to kill ourselves by overpopulation.
Yeah, well, yes, in the next 20, 30 years, we'll have 9 billion people. And the planet is completely unsustainable.
Hi, I just wanted to talk about how we can change consumer mindset on eating better, because a lot of the problems are caused due to convenience, or a lot of people not knowing what's good for them or not knowing how to cook. So is it more of a grassroots campaign? It needs to be tackled from the bottom and up.
Absolutely. I mean, healthy eating should be taught at school from a very young age. It's not part of the curriculum, it's just completely ridiculous. So we have to campaign for a whole shift and reshift of the educational system. There's no other way. So, I mean, I teach to people who come to me on a one-to-one basis, or who come to my workshops. Middle-aged people who don't even know the basics of so eating green, healthy smoothies or vegetables, etc. Yeah, it's really, really tragic. But these things can be learned very quickly, and it's very pleasurable as well. I recently trained as a chef, a raw chef, like healthy food, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm not a natural chef, a natural cook really, by nature, but I enjoyed it so much, learned so much, and felt really in touch much more with food, with green and natural produce. It's just incredible experience. So yeah, I think everyone should really give themselves an opportunity of education, or gift of education.
You're saying microwaves about, what's so terrible about eating food that's cooked in a microwave?
They actually, the microwaves change the molecular
how does that harm you?
Because the body actually doesn't recognize the food, that it's like synthetic supplements within the same category. Our bodies are the same as they were hundreds of thousands of years ago. So we're now introducing modern technology that the body doesn't actually recognize. It causes mutations in the body, basically. So it's very
causes cancer, actually.
Yeah, carcinogenic, yeah.
And there's evidence to support that?
Massive evidence.
Destroy the elements in the food.
Yeah.
Not well publicised.
No, you can find the information. I can talk to you about it later.
Any other questions or comments?
We recently bought a microwave, so what are we doing?
They put on eBay. Luckily, they're not very expensive.
I'd say something about GM foods. It's a new technology, and I think that you seem to have a lot of resistance to it. I mean, there's a lot of research needs to be done, but it could be, it's a rapidly expanding population. We need more and more food in the future. It could be a very useful tool if it is proved to be safe. Or you can't actually prove it's always safe, but individual genetic modifications could be shown to be safe, and then they could be very useful in these problems. And just to sort of resist technology, I mean, something that's been done for centuries, it may be, not taking advantage of something that could be a great opportunity.
I'm very much for technology, it's progress. I'm not resisting technology at all. Some of the best brains in the world, it's not just me saying that, some of the best brains in the world are campaigning against GM. It's very unsafe, the research is still very small. And as I said before, the profit is going in the hands of the very few, there is no shortage of food. So it's an excuse to produce more food and for the pockets to be lined, or the very few to be lined. Basically, we have enough food if the distribution system is completely changed. So there's no shortage of food. We're actually throwing away about 1/3 of global food production. So no, that's not being resistant, because of course we have to move on with technology, as our previous speaker was saying. But genetically modified food is very, very bad for human health. A lot of research, again, I can give you some guidance where to look at research.
Any other questions or comments?
How do we know which is genetically modified food? How can we recognize it? Is it written on the package?
The labeling is quite tricky. In America, they don't have to label GM foods at all, so people are buying most foods are GM now. In the States, here the laws are a little bit more structured, but yes, it's quite tricky as well. So that's of course all done deliberately to misguide people. So certain food groups are 100% genetically modified, such as corn, for instance, maize is now 100% modified, genetically modified. So it's quite tricky. Some food groups are less so, but there is, they have to label to a certain degree, but you have to kind of dig behind the scenes to discover these things. Very few people know about it or bother. I'm a professional, so that's one of my areas of research. But yeah, it's really depressing. Yeah. So we have to educate ourselves.
Can we give with Bianca and
Thank you.